I'm not gonna waste your time. These are 4 editing secrets that video editors learn way too late. The first one, realizing that everyone steals. I've built up my editing style over the last 3 years and a lot of people have liked it. I've had creators come to me willing to pay me over $1,000 per video. I've grown my brand to over 8,000 followers because of it. But what a lot of people don't realize, this smooth editing style that I've built up, I pretty much stole it. Because when it comes to being creative, I would say I'm a pretty creative person. Maybe this is something that you struggle with. Something that you need to realize is that every single artist, every single editor that you might look up to when you look at them on Twitter, the way that they've all found their editing style is they've taken parts of other people's and taken it for themselves, and then they looked at another editor and took their part, and then maybe they like a transition from this person and they implemented it into their work, and now their work looks nothing like anyone else's. What we call this is stealing like an artist, and whether you're doing it consciously or not, everyone does it. Every single one of your thoughts, every single one of your beliefs, the thoughts that are going through your brain right now, they're not actually yours. Because when you were born, you weren't given these thoughts that you already believed in. You didn't have any idea of what you believed in. So where does it come from? It comes from other people. It comes from our environment. The fact that you're an editor, maybe it was the fact that you were in gaming and you were just curious on how these YouTubers edit, so you kind of tried Premiere and now you watched a YouTube video on a tutorial on how to edit, and now you're here watching this, calling yourself a video editor. If I came up to you and I asked you, are you a video editor? You would say yes. So you have that self-identity, and it was given to you by this one video that you watched a few years ago about how to edit on Premiere Pro, and now you're here. So that belief was put into your mind. Maybe you had 100 micro experiences that pushed you towards this path. Just think about your own story with editing. For me, it was me editing my own Fortnite videos, making it on my own channel, not for any money, but just did it on the side for fun, and then started doing it for other people, then realized there was money in it. Had a friend that was in a Fortnite team at the time. He started editing for like these small YouTubers, but he was making money from it. Got jealous, started going into content editing, and now I'm working with the largest guys in the world just a few years later. But do you see how all these tiny experiences built me into who I am today? In the same way, your editing style, however you edit right now, these creative ideas that you might get, they were built by you watching other people's edits, and it's subconsciously staying in your memory. So you've been stealing other people's edits, other people's styles without you even knowing it, and that's not a bad thing. Everyone does it subconsciously, but what the best editors do, the top 1% editors, is they do it consciously. They realize that this phenomenon is happening anyway, so they might as well take it to their advantage. Something that I've done for myself is I use what's called an inspiration bank. So as I'm going throughout my day, I'm scrolling on Twitter, kind of just looking at these cool edits, and I see something I like. I'll take a link of it, I'll screenshot it, and I'll put it into my inspiration bank. This folder where I can say, okay, when I'm struggling to be creative, I need an effect idea. I can look through this folder where I've been building up over the last few weeks, the last few months, and say, oh, that could work here. And now maybe this transition could work as well, so let's put those two together and now implement it into my work. Some people may call it stealing, but hey, we're all doing it subconsciously anyways. The best editors do it consciously, and if you want to do that, I have a link to an inspiration bank below. It's called the Editing Vault. It's a huge resource that I've made completely free. You can just sign up and get it, and at the bottom there's an inspiration bank that you can use. The second secret is that you don't need a good PC to make money editing. I remember my first experience of me editing was on a PS4 on a software called Share Factory. If you don't know Share Factory, it's like on PS4, obviously it's not like Windows or Mac OS. You've got literally the PlayStation software. And on there was a free editor called Share Factory. If you think editing videos right now on a keyboard and mouse is hard, imagine trying to do that with a DualShock 4 controller, trying to control like the speed and stuff, bro. It was horrible. And the reason I couldn't edit on PC or anything is honestly my family's broke, and this isn't like a pity thing, but I grew up in like a poor family. We couldn't afford a PC. I remember I would watch those, you know, there's like top 10 teenager gaming setups, and it's like this $20,000 setup, and it's like, what the hell, bro? Like, dad, can I even have a PC? And it's like, I don't blame him, but I mean, we've got the setup now, so who cares? But I begged and begged for a PC, and eventually managed to convince my dad to get me a laptop. The way I convinced him wasn't by saying I wanted to get into editing or I wanted to get into gaming. I just told him I needed a laptop for schoolwork, which genuinely I did. The laptop I had before that, like, bro, I couldn't even run Chrome. Like, it was bad. So this new laptop I had, it wasn't the best. Ryzen 5 4500U, no GPU, like 8 gigabytes of RAM, and I cracked Premiere onto it. I heard this software that everyone else was using, and up to this point I had never been able to try it. I asked my friend for some clips. He was a Fortnite trick shotter back at the time. Some of you might know him in the editing space. His name's Danny. And I put in that Fortnite clip into Premiere Pro. I try editing it and it's laggy as shit. But I didn't care because I was having so much fun onto it. I didn't even know that lag was like a bad thing. I thought this is just like how Premiere runs. So I continue learning the software. I end up getting my first few clients, looking on Discord, looking on Twitter, and I start getting the ball rolling of my editing career. And it was on that laptop that I made enough money for me to buy my first PC. It was £1,000 exactly, so about $1,200, and it was a good PC, and I made it through that laptop, that shitty one that my dad got me for college, which I'm grateful for. And while that might sound amazing, a lot of people have no idea what I had to go through to make that happen. There were days where I'd be on this laptop working for a client project in my room, and now the video is done, so what I'd have to do is take my laptop, close it up, go downstairs into the kitchen, open the freezer, and let it continue rendering in the freezer because my laptop was so shit that it would overheat and crash unless I left it in the freezer to render. A lot of people see the setup I have now, they see what I've built for myself, and they say like, oh, it's because he's lucky. It's like, of course, like, luck might play a part, but bro, my dad's a taxi driver. I couldn't afford a laptop. I just told you, bro, I had to put my laptop in the freezer. This is the shit that I had to work with, and I made enough money for me to buy a PC. Because the truth is, I didn't have a choice. It was either I work on this laptop or I complain. And complaining wasn't going to get me anywhere because if I complain, it's not like I'm going to make more money because so I can get a PC, or it's not like I'm going to complain and my dad's suddenly going to have the money to buy a nice PC for me. It's like the only option I had was to make it work. So if you are someone that struggles with a bad PC, realize that a better PC is not going to make you a good editor. If you're a shit editor on a bad PC, realize that if you had like the best NASA PC in the world, bro, you're just making the same shit animations in half the time. Make the most out of the PC you have now. Any money you make on that, it is possible. Don't cuck yourself and say that, oh, I can't because it's a bad PC. I made it happen, you make it happen as well. Use that money to upgrade your PC. Secret number 3 is realize the importance of your health. Now this isn't going to be me like preaching like, oh, go to a gym, you have to be like Sigma Alpha, like fucking grindset type shit. This isn't me preaching to a gym, you've heard that enough. But all I'm saying is what's worked for me. I've been going to the gym for about 2 years now, and I've gone in like decent shape. Don't get me wrong, I'm not huge, but I would say I'm in better shape than I was a few years ago. And what I found throughout my entrepreneurship journey, so from when I first started editing, is I had periods of my life where life would get tough. Like I've got school, I've got like my family like telling me to kind of slow down, I've got my editing, this project to do, I'm trying to balance gym, and I'm trying to get my grades on track, and there's all these things that are happening at the same time. So I'm starting to prioritize. I'm thinking, okay, what can I cut out? Naturally, with me being Asian, it wasn't going to be grades that I cut out, and I love editing, so I'm not going to stop editing. Okay, gym will kind of slow that down. So I stopped working out as much, and for a few days, I'm getting a lot more work done. These client projects, I've got an hour or 2 extra a day, bro. I'm smashing these out. But a few weeks later, there's a morning that I'm changing my clothes, I'm looking in this mirror, and I just kind of look at my belly. This is going to make me sound insecure as shit, but like, I was able to like grab a decent amount of fat, and it was like I had let myself go. It's like, no worries, this is a sacrifice I guess I gotta make. So I sat down at my desk, opened up Premiere, and I'm working, but constantly in my head I just feel like shit. It was like this overwhelming just feeling of not being enough. I don't know what it was. I told myself I'll do a deep work session. It's been 45 minutes, I haven't worked, and it's like, you know what, fuck this. Let me just go for a quick walk, and then I'm sure I'll be fine. I'll come back to work. So I go for a walk, and while I'm on the walk, I'm feeling insecure, and I'm making eye contact with people, and I'm trying, and it's like the second they look back at me, I look back down, and now I come back home, my family's saying like, oh, Sayeef, you alright? I'm like, yeah, I go back upstairs to work, and I'm still being unproductive, and I realized I'm not confident in myself like I used to be. So at this point, I'm getting less work done. My grades are starting to go down. My business is starting to fail. I'm missing client deadlines, and I'm not in shape. So my life is going to shit. I've had this happen multiple times where I tell myself, you know what, we'll slow down the gym, we'll stop worrying about health too much, like, oh, we'll just do a little bit here and there. And every single time, the second I let go of my health, the rest of my life falls apart. So I find it so silly how people say that they don't have enough time to work out, or they don't have enough time to focus on their health, when they don't realize that focusing on your health is the same as working on your business. It's a part of working on your business because you are the business. When you're more confident, when you're in shape, when you feel good, you work better, which means you make more money. Working out and focusing on your health isn't a sacrifice. It's you doing what's necessary. It's you doing what's best for you. So I'm telling you now, if you haven't already, sign up to a fucking gym. What I recommend you do, just for the sake of consistency, I think you can see it on my floor. Right there, I've got like, oh fuck, it's like in the corner. I've got like this one weight that I bought like 2 years ago, and I use that. It's in my room. I do it more for the sake of just being consistent. And what I found is, there's days I'll go to the gym, and if I really don't have time, like I've literally got like 20 minutes spare, I'll just do it at home. And what I found is, being consistent allows you to work better. Let me fix this goddamn camera. And the fourth secret I wish I knew earlier is realizing that hard work is the goal. So right now, I'm 3 years into my editing journey. I've pretty much worked with the largest creators in the world. I've had multiple 10k months. In fact, it's February 16th right now, so yesterday was my 3-year anniversary for my first client that I got paid $2.50 from, and now we're working with guys with over $1,500 per video, and honestly, it's comfortable. I'm getting paid more than anyone I know, and realistically I can work just a couple of days a week. And that's what I started doing. I started working a couple of days a week, had the client project done, and I just spend the rest of the day outside the house, going to cafes, like doing whatever with my day. And I kept doing this for a few weeks and a few months, and started hating it. Like, I'd have an alarm on to wake up, I'd wake up to it, and I'd just turn it off and go back to bed, because it's like, I don't have to wake up, I have nothing to work towards. When I'd be in conversations, there was no longer this thing of like, oh yeah, this is what I'm struggling with, this is the thing that I've been working on, oh I tried getting this client but I didn't get him. And it's like, I didn't have these conversations that I used to have, and I'm realizing at that moment that I missed working hard. Like right now, I am making the most money I have ever made. I'm making a little under 20,000 per month, and that's from other businesses. And of course, that's not in like personal income. That's like the business's like income, and then obviously we have expenses and stuff as well. But this is the most money I have ever made. I'm 19 years old. I'm not from like a rich family, bro. My dad's a taxi driver. I'm in the poorest city, like the shittest city in the UK. If you search up shittest city in the UK, pretty sure my town comes up. It's Luton. So it's like, this should be where I wanted to be. But I'm looking back at those shitty days where I'd be staying up late. I'd be struggling with clients. I'd be late up in Discord calls asking people for revisions onto my edits because I'm trying to improve. It's like, that was the most fun I've ever had. And every time I remind myself of this, it just motivates me to work so much harder, realizing that in a year or two from now, I'm gonna look back at the version of me that worked my arse off, and he's gonna be so much more well off. He's gonna be financially free. He's gonna be traveling the world, doing whatever he wants with the amounts of money he makes, because I worked hard. Just in the same way that I don't have to go uni, I don't have to work a 9 to 5. I'm going to be traveling the world. Like next week, I'm going London with a few of the guys that I coach in like my private community. We're all flying out to London, and we're just going to book like a penthouse for a few days. The week after that, going Bali with my mate. It's like, I'm traveling the world now, and this isn't like a weird ego thing, but I'm saying it's because I worked hard as fuck for the last 3 years. I didn't take weekends off. I stayed up late. I would obsess over editing, and now that has brought me here. So there might be like one retard that sees this as like, oh, this is flexing, but I'm saying this to you because you're like someone that's grinding your ass off. I can tell you watch videos like these, you work hard. The future version of you is gonna look at you right now grinding your ass off. So grateful that you gave him a lifestyle that most people couldn't even imagine. It might be tough right now, you might be struggling with clients, all of these things, but what you're going through right now is what I call the grind days, and you're either going to come out of this where you've worked hard, you've got the clients you want, you've got the money you want, like you're making 5-10k a month, you're around people that genuinely are on the same level as you, they're just as ambitious, or you're going to let yourself go. In a few years from now, you're going to be still studying at uni, maybe you finally got your first 9 to 5 job where you're stacking shows, or you're taking like cold calls, and it's like you're just hating your life. All of that work, just working like 40 hours a week for you to not enjoy your life, and the little money that you do make, you'll spend it on the weekend because you've got to make it up for somewhere. Like, I've got to have some fun, right? But the reason I'm saying this is that's a life I genuinely could have gone down if younger me didn't grind my ass off. And if you're watching this, you're a lot like the younger version of me. So the content I make is made to help you. So scroll down right now, click the red subscribe button, do the YouTube shit, like, subscribe, comment if this is something you fuck with, and there'll be a video here you can watch. But yeah, take care. Peace.